All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D campaigns set in my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaign setting, and the people below me have all been chatting about weird stuff going on in the entertainment industry. So that's fun. Announcer moments. Legend of Vox Machina got renewed for a fourth season, to no one's surprise. That's very cool. I thought there was another big tabletop RPG thing that happened recently. I'm completely drawing a blank on it right now. There's like 40 bajillion Kickstarters and backer kits for various TTRPG products, including a new Cypher System thing called like the Duskwoods or something like that. Essence 20 is currently doing a backer kit for the Welcome to Night Vale tabletop RPG that they are creating. I recently found out there is a Cthulhu TTRPG that uses the Age system that I didn't realize was a thing. So that's super cool, and it's currently on sale on Amazon. So if you wanted to pick up the book, it's like 40% off. That's cool. I like the Age system in general, and Call of Cthulhu is not my favorite system, but I do like the Cthulhu mythos. Also, another cool thing that they do in the Cthulhu Age game that I can't remember what it's called, but they stopped using madness. It is now because you still have to react to seeing things that your mind can't comprehend. But instead of liking it to mental illness, which has for years been very accurately portrayed in all forms of entertainment media, they went, no, we're just going to call it alienation. To where your mind is slowly learning how to deal with the very alien, bizarre things that you are seeing. And I think that is a very good way to deal with something that is a fundamental aspect of the Cthulhu mythos in general, is seeing things that are so bizarre and so completely alien to your mind that it causes you to go insane, which is just not cool with me anymore. Having gone insane myself, it's not something I want part of my games anymore. So I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows? Being able to do stunts against Cthulhu, I think, could be lots of fun. So if anyone has no idea what that is, in the Age system, you roll 3d6, and if you roll doubles, you can do these things called stunts, which are super, super fun. It's probably the best part about the Age system in general, is stunts are fun. So, anything else good going on?
Discworld.
Yes, thank you. That's what it was. Discworld. It's currently Kickstartering, backer kitting something.
It's currently Kickstarter. They've met their goal and then some.
Yeah,
And
they did it in like 20 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
ooh,
they're
who
ridiculous.
would have thought
It was
Pratchett?
it was critical role numbers. It was like,
Yeah.
here's our goal. Oh, okay.
So like, at this point, no one should be surprised. It's Terry Pratchett. I mean, he's been gone for a little while now and is still an insanely popular author with a rabid fan base. Of course they were going to kickstart it. I've heard good things about the previews that people have been seeing of the system in and of itself. It seems really cool. It's another thing that I don't have the money to spend on, but I will probably find a way to spend money on it. So,
It's a game that actually has puns built into it.
I mean, that, to me, that's worth the admission price right there. A pun-based, that's what I need to do. I need to design a pun-based tabletop RPG where you get extra points for puns. Watch Elias's brain just melt out of his ears.
So you want to guarantee Elias never plays in the game?
No, see, what would happen is, for one of our anniversary episodes for Realms, I would just use my new pun-based system, and he'd have to sit there. He wouldn't have a choice. I have the power. So yeah, cool things happening there. Early access for the Dungeon Master's Guide happens next week, I believe. I think it's the 28th. Somewhere around that time. So we'll finally be able to see if I am as lukewarm about the Dungeon Master's Guide as I am about the 2024 Player's Handbook. Yeah, apparently there have been quite a few people that have been claiming. I know Mercer has been. People have claimed that Mercer helped. What's it called? He didn't help write it, but he consulted on the new DMG. I think Deborah Ann Worrell was another one that people claimed was kind of giving ideas for the DMG. At one point, I thought they mentioned Matt Colville. So the names that are involved in it are people that have a really, really good understanding of how to actually play D&D, as opposed to people that understand how to design D&D. Which, as much as it sounds like that should be the same group of people, it isn't always. And that's not to say that the people that create D&D don't play D&D. They do. But when it's your job, it's different. Like, there's just no other way to say it. When it's your job, it's different. And I think, like, Deborah Ann Worrell, her name.
Deborah Ann Wall.
Thank you. I think kind of showed everybody during that interview that she very much understands how to play D&D. Not only just how to play D&D, but how to get other people to play as well. So
I love the story that she got other people to play when she was running a game for people on True Blood. when she was on that.
I kind of want to hear a story. I sincerely doubt this happened, but I kind of want to hear a story about her and the dude that played Daredevil, like rolling dice on a set of Daredevil once, or like that would just warm my heart. Probably didn't happen, but it would have been very cool.
There's a game that she played live with him.
Really?
Yeah,
What's
I think it was even. I think it was even on oh god damn it, the Geek and Sundry, the show.
Oh, fuck.
No, not an alpha. It was the name of the series. I can't.
Relics and Rarities.
Yes.
Is he on that? Oh, I'd have to look into it again. So he's a cool guy. I can't remember his name. I think it's Charlie something.
It's Charlie Cox.
Thank you. That's his name. I thought, like, if it wasn't for the fact that the Netflix TV series tried to turn Daredevil into Batman, I think it would have been a perfect show. I didn't like the I'm the savior this city needs. That was never Daredevil. He was selfish. That was the whole point of the character.
Charlie Cox in The Ascent of the Angler Part 1, Relics and Rarities, Episode 3, Part 1.
It
is on Geek and Sundry.
I will have to rewatch that. That was another thing. Hyper RPG just announced that apparently they're going to Thailand because what's the CEO's name? Malika. There we go. Malika apparently wrote a movie or something akin to that, and they're going to Thailand to do location scouting and all the fun stuff that takes to create a movie out there. So that's very, very cool. Hyper RPG has pivoted entirely to a production company now, which is, to be blunt, it's what Zach does really, really well.
Their greatest strength.
Yeah, like Zach has always been just a phenomenal producer. And as much as I loved Hyper RPG, don't get me wrong, I think this is a better move for the company. Yeah. And I mean, they produced the Geek and Sundry Pokemon show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they're doing stuff with Iron Mouse?
Yeah, they did favorite so-so.
Really? I didn't know that. Well, it's Zach Eubank. Who would have thought? Anyway, so yeah, lots of cool stuff going on. Not this next month, but the one after. Just a reminder, everyone, I am going to be running my yearly mini campaign. It's going to be a Metroid themed campaign. We're going to be using the Lancer RPG system for it, which should be super fun. And I almost have the cast down. I'm waiting to hear from a couple other people. One person in particular, and then we may have a finalized cast. So yeah, first Monday in December, we will have our Session 0 streamed live, where we build characters and learn the system and everything. And then the 4 Mondays after that, we play Metroid, the tabletop RPG, and that should be fun. So anyway, I think that means it's time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party is choking. After discovering a bad orb, Argenta used her now intrinsic ability to sense the location of other orbs. And the party headed north to hopefully find a new good orb. When they arrived there, they noticed that the house that they discovered seemed different. It wasn't quite as easy to find a way into the crawl space, and when Vala was crawling through it, she accidentally tripped a tripwire to the trap. It started to release some odorless, invisible gas that immediately not only rendered her unconscious, but very nearly took her life. Relwyn fought his way in to drag her back out, but getting her back to consciousness was much more difficult than it initially seemed, in addition to having to worry about the eyes in the sky and the possible interruption of the siblings that currently control Klosket. They were successful, however, in reviving Vala, and in order to get inside the building before being seen by the eyes in the sky, they broke down the front door, came in, and were suddenly face to face with what seems like the aggressive inhabitants of this home. And that is where we return. So
Yeah, the last thing that happened, we entered the front of the house into magical darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought was that right where we ended? Was magical darkness and then cut to black? Well,
Yeah.
Pretty much.
okay.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen anyone.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, so you guys all shuffled into the house. The door closed behind you, and again, you're in complete magical darkness. What would you all like to do? You're in a very kind of confined space. Like, you all are kind of pressed up against each other. It's not like the space that you're in can't be much larger than maybe 5 feet by 5 feet. Like, you guys are all kind of standing in one area or one square. That's why this sounded different. I pushed the wrong button. sitting here going, that's not the ambience I remember. Oh, because that was the castle ambience, and this is the village ambience. Sorry. So, again, you guys are in complete darkness, kind of locked in this sardine tin.
Here, I can create light, and I will use what is it? Dancing lights.
Okay?
Does that work in darkness?
Nothing.
If I cast fire, no.
I think it's a great idea. All of you are in the same 5-foot square, so
Is this some kind of magical darkness that we're in? I can't
I mean,
cast.
I can't see through it, so probably.
as you guys are discussing, you suddenly hear a voice come from an area that's hard to kind of pinpoint because in the absolute darkness there really isn't direction. And because you guys are all squished together, it's kind of hard to get your bearings. Do you hear this voice? Put all your weapons on the floor.
Why should we do that?
If you don't, we will throw you back out of the house.
Not to. You don't want any more attention here than we do. Can we have a
Yes.
conversation?
But if the intention is on you, it will not be on us. You have 30 seconds.
I hate my swallow she did. And drop it on the floor.
Okay. You don't hear it hit the floor.
Vala will take her sword, set that on the floor.
Okay. As you try to kind of place it on the floor, you eventually kind of feel the floor, but your sword doesn't stop moving and just kind of continues to beneath the floor. But your hand stops.
Yeah, I'll let it go.
Rowan will unhook his mace and he'll.
Okay. Same basic thing. If you drop it or you place it, you never hear it stop.
Since he couldn't hear anybody else, he would, because he knows he doesn't want to be an asshole. So like, since he wouldn't know that, he would like very slowly like, oh.
Yeah. So if you keep like eventually like you feel like, oh, I'll stop when I feel resistance, and you don't feel resistance until your hand literally hits the floor. But whatever you're holding goes through the floor.
Argenta will place down her flail and her short bow.
Okay.
Yeah, by quabble by will.
Again, this is the thing where the fighter just.
She's not getting rid of Fury and her dagger because those are under her coat.
Okay.
And she doesn't know what they can see.
Yeah. So, does anyone not put anything down?
Weapon wise, I think he's just going to put the obvious thing down. If he he wouldn't think to put a dagger down because honestly he uses it more for utilities than anything else.
Yeah. That's fine.
Using a dagger in a dread realm is laughable, really, unless you're an assassin.
Well, there's lots of uses for a dagger, just not in combat.
Argenta uses a dagger. You see
Well,
there's
yeah.
many things with the dagger.
What? This isn't a dagger. This is a flute. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So I just need to know if you guys hold on to anything. So,
Fury and her dagger, but they're
Okay.
under her coat.
Vala has her flute with the piercing flame.
okay.
She's hanging on to that, and her actual loot.
Okay, cool. So, a couple moments pass where Nothing is happening, and then suddenly you all feel one of the walls just give way, and because of kind of how tightly you're packed in there, you all just start to kind of fall. Feel free, anyone that wants to try and stop their fall, give me a dex save with disadvantage.
Hmm.
I'll do it for the walls.
Yeah, me too.
8, 8 and 5, cool. That's a 6.
Cool.
15 for me.
Not bad.
13 for Vol.
Okay.
30, 20.
Wow. So as everyone starts to fall, Lillian, you just sit there. You can feel everyone falling, and you just kind of lean back as hard as you can, and everyone else just kind of falls down to this kind of pile of arms and legs.
Roll just goes, not again!
With Argenta, you're able to slow yourself enough to where you're not completely prone. You kind of land on like your hands and knees, but can kind of spring up without too much difficulty. But both Vala and Relwyn, you guys are just a tangled mess on the ground.
Every time.
What are you
Every
doing
time.
down there?
And Lillian, you have to step forward just a little bit to get out of the darkness.
Yeah.
Whoever's knee is in my gallbladder, please get off me.
Why didn't you guys take the stairs? As you all, as all of your eyes kind of adjust, you see a rather impressive collection of sharpened farm implements, all pointed at you. And you see, surprisingly enough, you see about half a dozen kids, anywhere from like 8 to maybe up to like 14 or 15, all in there, all pointing their weapons at you. You can see one smaller kid, might be like 4 or 5, in the back, who seems to be looking at the weapons that you guys gave up. And he's just kind of looking, kind of playing with them a little bit. The eldest of them goes, "Who are you and what are you doing here? And don't lie. We'll know."
Right, sure.
What is it we were caught up in a game?
You watch as the older ones' faces go pale. And again, the eldest goes, "We want no part of the game. You could just leave."
I wish it were that easy. Does this sound like the person that was giving us orders up top?
The voice is not quite like, it's a higher pitched version of that voice, but it sounds about the same.
Are you the one in charge, or is there someone else?
Why? You don't need to know that. You're
If we're
leaving,
gonna have
so
a-
it doesn't matter.
If we're going to have a conversation, yeah, we need to talk to whoever's in charge.
And you can see him kind of looking at, like, everyone is just looking up to him, and he's kind of stammering and stuttering. There is no conversation because we're not playing, so you have to leave now. If you don't, we'll hurt you.
And fortunately we have didn't believe that you are for the game.
No.
Even as we
And as you say that, one of the younger kids, you can just see like tears start welling up in his eyes. He's just like, "But you said that we weren't gonna play. You said that we weren't gonna play." And he just like, he has a rolling pin, is what he's been pointing at you guys. And he just drops it on the floor and just starts wailing. And another kid kind of comes over and like covers his mouth and shh, started rocking him and stuff like that. "Look what you've done." And he kind of, like, the eldest kid kind of takes, he's had a pitchfork aimed at you guys, takes the pitchfork and puts it down and kind of goes over, and he kind of picks the kid up and goes takes him to a corner. And the rest of the kids are still pointing their various sharpened farm implements. One of them actually has a hoe that they're just pointing like the bent part at you.
All right, let's all calm down before something bad happens.
And that,
We just need
as
to
soon
get
as you
the
say it
orb.
before something bad happens, all of them change instantly. They, you can see it's almost like a switch is flipped, and they grip their weapons tighter. They start like bringing them forward. Even the kid that's like playing with your weapons that you guys gave up picks up the first one he can get his hands on, which is unfortunately Relwyn's mace, which he can't lift. But he sits there and he's just like holding it as much as he can, and they start like getting close enough that some of these sharpened edges are being pressed against you, and they're like, "We're not going back. You can't hurt us anymore. We're in charge."
Going back where?
And then the eldest comes over. "You need to leave now. I don't know what they told you, but we're not playing anymore. All right?"
We don't want you to play. We just need to get the orb, and then we will be on our way.
You see this look of confusion. Orb?
Dave, wait a orb. Somebody with it.
And his face goes white again. "You're playing hide and seek." "Oh no. No, no,
Relwyn,
no, 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 no,
Relwyn
no,
steps
no,
forward.
no, no,
Relwyn
no,
steps
no.
forward. I'm sorry we're here,
You can't be
but
here.
they made you a place in the game. We didn't.
No, 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 no.
I
No one
know.
was here. It was empty, and there wasn't supposed to be anyone here.
Argenta looks at them and is like, "Do you know the rules of hide and seek?"
And you see him kind of gather himself. "You have to find something that they hid, and they find you first."
And have you played it before, or do you just have you seen people play it?
My brother and I played it. I won.
How do you tell? I know this is hard, but it can help. How do you tell? She'll pull out the two different orbs that she has, a good one and holds up the good one from a bad one.
You can't. They You need to go. You need to go. We don't want to play. All right, we're sorry. We thought the house was empty. We'll leave, but we don't want to play.
Understand? We don't want to be here either. They made this house part of it.
Is there somewhere else you can go that would be safe?
There's nowhere safe. There's never anywhere safe. This was safe.
Since you played and won, do you notice anything odd about about the siblings? In their carriage?
I don't. We didn't play here. We played in their house.
Mm.
Sorry
You've been in their house?
And he kind of looks around, and all the kids here, like tears are welling up in their eyes. You can feel the fear, and you see him kind of noticing what's going on. He kind of stands up a little bit straighter and goes, "Guys, I'm gonna take care of this, okay? We're not playing. We're never gonna play again. But in order for me to do that, I need you guys to go in there and be really, really quiet, okay? Super, super, the quietest you've ever been, all right? I'm going to take care of this. And if I'm not here when you come back out, I'll be back very soon. But Lennon here, he knows where the food is and he knows how to get more. So if it takes a little time for me to come back, you guys you stick to Lennon, okay? All right, let's go. Come on. It's going to be perfectly fine. Don't worry. And he kind of ushers them all into the room and he locks it from the outside. And as he does, you guys watch as a rune, a magical sigil appears on it. Okay.
Did he do anything, or did he just
It
close
looked
the door
like
and
it was
happened?
activated by the locking mechanism, as far as you can tell. The idea of a magical something being activated by moving parts is not an alien idea to you. It's not incredibly common, because magic, but it's not uncommon either. If that makes sense. You know, depressing a button activates a magic sigil somewhere. Things like that are not impossible or unlikely. So he turns to you. Okay, well, what do you guys want to know?
Well, first off, let's go back to the one thing, because
Scott, you're muted, by the way, if you were saying something. So, before Rowan, I think, Scott, were you saying something?
I'll let Mama go home.
Okay. So, go ahead, Rowan.
Rowan wanted to go back because they had talked about this before. So, like, let's go ahead to the part where have you all, or some of you, been in the twins' house?
Years ago, before things got as bad as they are, to keep Elizabeth entertained, she would invite friends over. And parents were required to send their kids for play dates. And sometimes after the play date was over, they'd go home, and sometimes they wouldn't. And it seemed random at first. Like, I had 3 or 4 play dates, and everything was fine. We played Tea Party and House, but then it changed. I wasn't allowed to go home. The game wasn't over yet. And it went on for days, and then weeks, and then months. And it didn't, you can't lose at playing Tea Party. But then they started having games like tag and hide and seek, and my brother and I were the last 2 players in a game of hide and seek. And we had to find 3 dolls. And the person that had the most dolls at the end won. And we each had 1, and we were going to share the last one. And she didn't like that. Sorry. I can't play again. I just can't.
I don't think you need to play. We just need to find the orb, and then we're gone.
There's no orb here. There's nothing in the house. We intentionally cleaned everything out.
I will look over to, oh my god, I just drew a blank at her name.
Argenta?
Argenta.
There we go.
This is where I felt the orb, right?
Absolutely. You have no doubt in your mind that there is an orb here.
Might not be aware that it's here, but I promise you it is here, fortunately.
Can I thank you?
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll an insight to check.
Right here.
He seems to be so afraid right now, you're not sure he could lie. Like, everything he said thus far, there's no indication he might be lying, and he seems to eagerly want you guys to leave. And right now, telling the truth seems to be the fastest way to get you guys to leave, so. I mean, look around. Do you see any orbs?
They've all been hit.
Oh, I mean, the what if I was in a born of a house? No, did I have it visible?
So unless you've literally torn apart walls and floorboards, they could be hidden anywhere in this house.
Argenta, do you still have your orb out, or did you put it into a bag of holding?
I don't think it's in a bag of holding because there was the feeling that that shouldn't happen.
Okay.
Sorry, I was muted. I said I was just keeping them in pouches on my belt, and I took them out to show him the two, just to see if it rang any bells, but it didn't. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say I can try locate orb, locate orb again.
Locate Orbjet.
But if you're standing next to me with those orbs,
I mean, I can.
Or I hit the basic combination.
Geometry might work best if maybe we can tell. Maybe if we could discern a little bit more this time, maybe there could be a clue there whether the orb is safe or not.
Yeah. Yeah, as they're talking to him, all the way is receiving thousands the four to the basic comments we are out.
Okay.
I'm going to be holding an orb in each hand so that if I see an orb, I don't have a hand to grab an orb.
Aha!
Hey, let's do the sorority thing, fraternity thing, and like we'll duct tape your hands like the solo cups.
I was gonna say all of a sudden Argenta grows a third arm and hand.
Argenta learns to grip things with his toes. Or with her toes. So, Liliane, as you kind of inwardly focus on the...
They see that history, by the way.
Alright? As you start to kind of focus in on the house, the first thing but you notice you instantly get this kind of overwhelming feeling of kind of horror and fear from the house itself, and it actually knocks you out of your grim psychometry for a brief moment with just how intense it was. With a 19, you kind of focus and try and get through it, and as time kind of goes back throughout the house, you see murder after death, after desiccation, after just over and over and over again. People in this particular house have just died gruesome deaths. And the one kind of thing that seems to be relatively common because of where you're standing as time regresses backwards, the door to the bedroom tends to be open, which is where the kids are right now, tends to be open most of the time. And inside the bedroom is this really kind of elaborate king-size bed, 4 posts. Each post ends in a large wooden sphere. But after like the 13th or 14th kind of really gruesome death, you can't really take it anymore. Even with the training that you've had through being a Order of the Ghost Hunters, this is too much. And you're kind of knocked out of it. You actually fall down after doing it, just being overwhelmed with the immense amount of grief and terror that is this house has been subjugated to. And as you're on the floor, you can actually see, as you kind of pick yourself up, the various spots where the wood of the floor still has that kind of rust red stain to it. That was so dusty when you guys came in that you couldn't have noticed it. But now, like, there are just rust red stains all over this place.
Take a minute and gather myself and good kid, do you know anything about the history of this house before you came here?
No, it was empty. I mean, it wasn't entirely empty, but the people that were here weren't using it, let's say. The other kids, they had no idea. I never told them.
Roland would ask Liliane, was it one of the twins that was doing the murders, or was it just random people?
Was I able to tell?
You actually didn't see anyone murdering anyone in here. You just saw people dying in here. And they weren't dying by their own hand or anything like that. They just seemed to be dying over and over and over in here. But you never saw someone actually killing them.
Was it the same people over?
Nope, different people. Sometimes it was couples, sometimes it was, families, sometimes it was single owners, but They would, like the images that you saw, you'd see someone with like a slit throat or another person kind of impaled on something, or very kind of you familiar with Final Destination, the movie
Yeah.
series?
This is what
Yeah, very kind of similar situations where there doesn't seem to be an abject murderer, but everyone was terrified before they died, and they all died.
Hmm.
all I do who are the kids? Yeah, well, maybe.
They the last time there was a play date, I I didn't want them to have what happened to my brother. So one night we escaped. I my brother and I realized that when you burn like wood and things like that, everybody knows don't inhale the smoke, that's bad for you. But that's not the only thing that comes out. We found out there was something else. You couldn't smell it, you couldn't see it, but it was heavy. And we figured out how to kind of collect it. And if you put enough of it into a room, you don't wake up. So I took all the kids and I put them in as small and airtight a room as I could, and I filled up the room with this stuff, and the guards didn't wake up. I almost didn't wake up.
When I know what you talk about.
It was the gas that knocked us out. Well, knocked out. I almost
Would
knocked Rowan out and knocked Val out.
Oh,
I was gonna say, would Vala be able to make a check? To...
Hey,
No.
if you guys want to roll a, you can call this a nature check, nature or history, whichever. I would say probably, to be blunt, Val would probably be the only one that might know what this is. Well, I guess maybe Liliane too. So you guys, nature or history, whichever you like better. This has nothing. This has no effect on ghosts, so or undead. So you would not get any benefits from that.
My lore bard is showing. I got a. I only rolled a 4, so I got a total of 18.
Oh,
I got a 21.
okay. Without getting too crazy, effectively what he's talking about is carbon monoxide.
Oh,
Okay.
Heavier than air, it replaces, it displaces oxygen in your bloodstream, and it kills very quickly. It's
Yeah.
remarkably how fast.
Yeah.
So, and it is one of the byproducts that comes off of burning anything with carbon in it. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Do they have family? Do you know or parents?
if they do, they can't go back to them. They'd immediately be taken back.
Yeah.
um, place is horrible. The one thing I caught, Lillian, when you mentioned about your visions, you said there were 4 spheres on the bed.
Yeah.
Do they look like the orbs that we've seen so far? Or no.
They,
And size-wise, they're relatively similar.
well, I mean, when I could read it, and I read the mother reading to the moment that through it.
How many children are her?
Grand total 7, because there were 6 that were all pointing stuff at you, and then there was one other that was playing with your weapons, which are still on a pile on the floor, by the way.
So 7 total,
Yes.
Yeah.
including the kid who we're talking to.
Yes.
Um,
Rowan would think is like we cannot have a repeat of what happened.
no. So do the reaper and forfeit whatever orb it is.
The problem being is I didn't see a difference between this orb and this orb. She's holding the good and bad one still. I don't think. I think that's by design, and I think they're always going to be in a house that's populated.
Well,
I believe it's Vala. Is it Vala? Is it you that knows how to make the hut spell? The tiny hut?
I do know how to make a hut, but I have to stay inside of the hut.
That may be preferable if you can protect the children.
I'm all for that.
Because if that's what the same thing I was thinking is if it is the bed,
but I think well.
we still can't seem to discern a rhyme or reason between the differentiation. It could just literally be random to them.
I mean, I'm sure there's a difference, but how to, because they have to enchant it, but how to spot it is the issue.
I mean, the way these guys play, they may not have a difference.
I mean,
I'm getting visions of the Mad Hatter here.
just okay. This is like absorbing knowledge from being around you and Henri before. We are you are gonna seem to come in like very different qualities. She does not strike me as the person that has the patience for subtle enchantments. I feel that it's masked, but I don't know how, unless she got it from another source.
I was gonna say, I don't know that she seems like the kind of person that can do enchantments as much as she can use them.
He seems more, again, as the capability of whatever is going on, she deactivates and then bad things happen
Yeah.
in regards to what happens around the town, unless she is casting, and it seems to be she only does things offensively.
Well, she was able to use.
If she is casting.
I mean, she used counterspell. I saw that.
So far, that's the only thing that wasn't.
It's fireball and
dealing.
counterspell.
Yeah.
Well, and
Those kinds of wizards are more common than you think.
Yeah. Fireball is a freaking power.
But she did fireball, and then she did some other strange, fiery version of a spell, as well. So we know she definitely has a penchant for a damaging
Yeah.
What are the
show.
dimensions of the room? 20 by 20 fireball.
I mean, we're gonna have a bit of the yeah.
While all of this is happening, Vala has started casting. She's like scoping out the room and is like, okay, yep, right here, and starts casting Tiny Hut.
Okay.
While you
Alright.
do that, Rowan will start ritual casting Detect Magic.
Okay.
And
How long does Tiny Hut take? It's just a minute?
I think, well, if I'm casting it ritually, I think it's 10.
Okay. So you guys will get done roughly about the same
Or-
time.
And
Well,
and Rowan will
Technically,
also,
it's 11 minutes because
Yeah.
um before we get started as well, like what's your name?
Nathaniel.
Hey, Nathaniel. The quicker we can get out of here, hopefully the quicker we can keep you all safe as well. Unfortunately, we have to try and get this orb. Now, what we're going to try and do is, my friend Vala here is she knows magic, as do some of us. What she's going to do is she's going to summon essentially a little tiny dome, and you're going to get you and all the kids in there with her. And while we attempt to find and take the orb, we're going to do our best to protect you while we take the orb we try to leave.
There isn't an orb here. Like I said, I've looked. There's nothing here.
They've hidden it. It wouldn't be obvious. And the house, as we've been able to tell, in every case, that's led us to every orb. My friend here has a special way of finding these orbs. It's here.
But they're
We have a
already safe. The door here. There's a special. There's a special seal on it. It keeps everyone
Rowan.
inside safe.
Rowan gently, if they're okay with it, he's going to put a hand on their shoulder. If they're
Mhm.
okay with it, he's going to go. Think the orb is in that room. Now,
And he kind of
if
rips
we-
your hand off, immediately
Keep
goes
calm.
over,
No. Keep
opens
calm.
the
keep,
door.
Keep calm. He's just like, no. We don't want them to panic, right? What we're going to
we
do.
can't leave them in there.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
They're not trying to get the orb, so they're safe.
But they're kids. What if they find it by accident?
Do you think a panic is going to do it best, or you tell them all to come out, and they're going to go into a little hut with a friend, while
Okay.
we go in to just investigate the room? It may or may not be in there. I have a suspicion that it is. My friend Liliane here has that same suspicion as well. But if we keep jerking them from one room into another, it's just going to make them more scared, and some of these kids are going to cry, and they're going to make more noise, and then it's just going to be worse for everyone.
Okay.
You seem to be very good at keeping them calm when you're calm. I
Okay.
understand. Believe me. Rowan looks Nathaniel in the eye. I've dealt with monsters for a very long time. I understand what it is to be scared and being forced to try and quiet it long enough.
Okay. Okay. Huh. He takes a deep breath. He
It's one step in front of the other.
slowly opens the door. Okay, everybody. Our new friend Vala here. She, I know I told you guys when you're in here you're completely safe. But Vala, she knows a new way to keep us safe. So, everybody come out and we're gonna go over to Vala's, little tent. And we're just gonna hang out there with Vala, okay?
It just occurred to me you need to rename that spell now.
Vala's tiny tent.
Yep.
So, Vala's Camping Supplies, Volume 1. There's 20 different variations of the 20 different variations of the spell. So the kids, still very hesitant, all kind of come over, and as soon as they get to the edge of the hut, they kind of stop and they look at it, and one of the kids kind of does the whole Stargate thing. They kind of like, then they slowly start kind of making their way into the hut. And something that you didn't notice until you were in the hut, Vala, is outside the hut there is this kind of oppressive fear that you just like being outside the hut. Your breaths are automatically a little more shallow. Your heart rate picks up. Everything just seems worse. But inside the hut feels normal. As the kids come in, you can watch as almost like this huge weight is just taken off of their shoulders as they come in. And some of them will instantly just start to smile, not really understanding why. And other of them, you'll watch them just take a deep breath. And for the first time since you've known these kids in the, 15 minutes you've known them, they look completely different. You start seeing some color return to their cheeks. Like, these are different kids. And they all kind of come in and they start sitting down. The youngest comes over and just sits directly on your lap without skipping a beat.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. You guys are all safe in here?
She starts looking around. You see her lip quiver just a little bit. Where'd my toys go?
I will press the digitate, a little like toy truck.
No, and she starts looking, and she sees. Did anyone ever pick up your weapons? Or did you just leave it? Okay, so she sees she sees Liliane's sword outside of the hut. She goes, there, and she starts to run over to get Liliane's sword. And as soon as she comes to the edge of the dome, she like sticks her hand out a little bit, and she kind of comes back and sits on your lap and just pouts.
I will press the digitate, a little Nerf sword.
Okay.
It'd be more like
She's
a little Nerf
thrilled.
dagger.
Thrilled with it.
Rowan actually will go like he will pick up the mace and he'll like do the other weapons, and he would have handed Ball since I know Smalla can't leave the hut. He's like, these aren't toys, so we're gonna give these back to all of us now, okay?
She is enwrapped with her new dagger. She barely realizes that you're there.
Vala will have mentioned to everyone, the capacity of this hut is 9 people. If more than 9 people come into the hut will be no more.
Well, the only people can come in are the people you allow.
Okay, so I've only allowed the 7 children and myself. Just to be safe.
You're now at 8. So one more person, if conceivably we need to do that. And Rowan is thinking, is like,
Argento will stay out of the hut.
There's an unseen servant that's acting as the bouncer.
It's just like starts looking at IDs. Okay, when were you born?
Yeah, you old.
Rowan's going to consider, okay, so Bala needs to stay in there, ironically, because the hut, but also because she already used the death ward.
No, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm no longer warded.
Argenta and Liliane still have a death ward, but Rowan is concerned about Argenta being compulsed.
I shall stay outside of the room you're searching in.
Your compulsion may not give you that option.
I see no orb, I speak no orb, I hear no orb.
Well, I was considering, do we? Well, someone is going to have to touch the orb,
Yeah. And I'm saying that he
and
can be you.
but my other concern is that could possibly lead to us having two people dealing with a compulsion as opposed to one. And you both are our strongest people.
So
I
we should fight each other.
To the death! No! To the
To the
pain!
pain.
Oh.
So unfortunately the option could be that Argenta has to do it, but I'm only suggesting this because again, I don't want to deal with two of you with compulsion.
A new hand
But
touches the beacon.
what I'm hearing is we have the little child go after the beacon.
And Argenta,
Mm-hmm.
there's a message in Roll20 chat for you.
Okay.
Rowan is actually going to look at Argenta real quick, and he wants to know, like, just to confirm, is
Mm-hmm.
that light still dancing behind in the back of her eyes?
Make me an investigation check.
We got a bonus for because I know what to look for now.
Sure, I'll give you advantage on it.
Okay. And it's 13. Wow. Okay, so go 13. 13. That'd be 16.
I saw your message too.
So I've seen it
She's at
before.
13.
I know how the angle works.
So as you're kind of looking for it, you're having a hard time getting the right angle because Argenta's kind of busy doing her own thing. As far as you can tell, you didn't see it this time, but you're not 100% convinced it's not there. You just didn't catch it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The angle, and I hate to do this, but the easiest option for managing this may have to be that it's Argenta. And if that's the case, I can try, since I'm now got the detect magic up, ascertain if we do get a ping in there, then I go into the hut. That way, in case something bad does happen. And I would imagine we have a position so we can, because you said, like, the way you described the scene, sometimes the door was open, sometimes it was closed when the horrific things were happening, and you could see the four-post bed. So I'm going to presume I can see it.
Yeah, the building that you're in is still relatively small to where, other than that little area where the darkness is, you can see the bedroom anywhere in this little kind of efficiency style thing. Like, this is effectively like you guys are standing in the combination living room, kitchen, dining room, and there is only one door which leads to the bedroom.
So I'm presuming you can see that.
So you could be anywhere in the room and would still be able to see in.
Okay. So I go in, see the detect magic, I see if the orb does. I should be able to pick it up, hopefully. It seems to radiate magic pretty well. They don't seem to cloak it.
So are you looking in at the bed right now?
Well, I'm describing what's going to happen. So
Okay.
that's what Rowan is telling. And so when I discern which one, then we can see what we want to do next. So, and then possibly with me going back into the hut, and then we take our next step, whatever that may be. So right now we still have to confirm that. We still have time on the detect magic. I'm gonna go into my intent is I'm gonna go into the room with the detect magic up and see possibly which of the 4 orbs or which of the 4 decorations on the 4-post bed is that, and then we'll go from there. Argenta, if you could do me a favor, while I'm detecting magic on this, if you could look away from the bedroom.
That's fine. You see her eyebrow twitch, but she does it.
Okay. So as you go into the room with your detect magic on, one of the first things you realize when detect magic first goes on is there is active magic throughout this entire house. There is some sort of spell that's affecting the entirety of the house. It is. I can't remember my schools of magic. There's 8 of them. Give me like 2 seconds here.
What did I keep against 9?
So abjuration, conjuration, divination, enchantment. Okay. Enchantment is the one I was thinking of. So there is, because detect magic tells you the school. So, enchantment. There is an enchantment magic that is infused into the very walls of this building. But as you go into the room itself, all 4 posts glow.
Huh. All 4 of them are glowing, describing. If Ron was describing, it's like all 4 of them are glowing. Are all 4 of them the same school of magic?
No. There is one that is divination, one that's evocation, one that's necromancy, and one that's transmutation.
Rowan will point to each. He'll point to each one: divination, evocation, necromancy, transmutation. Why in the world would you have necromancy on a bed?
Well, give him what I fear.
I guess it really kind of depends on how deep a sleep you get into. Because I've
You
known
say
some
that,
people
but
that you have to kind of raise the dead to get them up. So
You say that, but I happen to know False Life actually would do it, and it would. I think there's one of those spells like False Life very soundly put you to sleep.
So anyway, what do you guys want to do?
But in all 4 of them, each of them do look wooden.
As far as you can tell, with the detect magic, because of how brightly they're glowing, it's actually difficult for you to tell the material anymore because it's just exuding. Like you can see magic. But as far as you can tell, they all seemed to have a wood grain to them before they started glowing.
Is there anything else in the room that's glowing brightly?
The walls themselves, like I said, there is a strong enchantment magic that is infused in the very building. But
Yeah.
as far as in the room itself, it's just those. It's not even the full bed. It's just those 4 posts, effectively. Basically, the bed itself is like a standard kid-size bed, and then on each corner is a thing that probably goes up to about 3 feet high, and then it ends in a ball.
Is the bed itself enchanted, or is it more
Not that
like
you can see.
just in regards to it? That's where the enchantment goes.
It is just the spheres. It ends right at the bottom of the spheres.
Okay. He'll go back and he'll look and he'll just. Yeah, I think the kids. Is the dome transparent? I'm guessing right now.
That's up to Vala.
Vala.
Sorry, say that again.
Is the bed? Sorry, is
Sure.
the hut transparent right now?
I think so. Yes. Well, I can see out. I don't think you guys can see in.
I well, I think you can if you say you can. I can't remember the condition of that. I
It
don't know.
the way that I run it is it's entirely up to the person that cast it. If you want it to be translucent both ways, it can. It can be opaque one way. It can be opaque both ways. It's entirely preference.
Then I would say probably I would have it so that it's kind of opaque from inside out,
So they can
kind
see
of
in, but you can't see out.
so that way the kids can't see
Yep,
out.
makes sense.
Okay, but so he can say this. Nathaniel, are you aware that the bed it's that the four spheres are enchanted? You knew about the door, and you knew about obviously the darkness in the main room. Did you know about the bed?
Uh, he looks at Vala and basically asks, "Can I, if I leave, can I come back?"
Yes, you can.
Okay, so he kind of comes out. He goes, "What? What are you talking about? It's a bed."
Each of those four spheres has an enchantment on it. Schools of magic. Do you know about schools of magic?
Yeah, I don't remember most of them, but I mean everybody knows
Rowan was
magic.
like, you probably know about as much as I do. But there,
It's a bed. We sleep in it at night. There's
so you've never used the bed other than just the bed. You've never done it like a door, like the door when you close it and the enchantment goes on it.
it's just a bed.
He just like kind of puts his back to it, so the kids like just like shield like what he thinks would be the POV for the kids. Like each of those four spheres, there's an enchantment on them. If
No.
you've never used it, that probably means they're. I have my own spell I was able to use. They have magic on them. This whole house is enchanted.
And you just like you can see like the wheels in his head are trying to turn, and it's just like he is just out of it at this point. You have gone beyond blowing his mind. You have like full on cognitive dissonance.
Okay.
No idea how to deal with any of this.
Whoever had this house before, initially, they had all kinds of enchantments here. Um. So maybe it is, maybe it's nothing, but there is magic on the bed, and I just want to confirm that you've done very well. It's okay if you don't know. Everything's a clue. Okay, you're doing great. You're doing a good job.
What happens in the next?
Well, we're gonna see about that. So why don't you go ahead and go back into the hut with Vala
Okay.
and continue keeping the kids entertained and calm.
So he goes back in.
Argenta, you only sensed one pull when we got close to this house, yes?
Am I able to tell that, or do I just know they're here?
You felt one orb here, and you're
I f-
relatively confident that there is a single orb here.
Just one.
It could be a misdirect, but seems a little obvious. Are you feeling that compulsion?
Yes, I think because I was expecting it this time, I'm able to ignore it. But I'm feeling it.
Can I say something?
Sure. Argenta, I'll let you choose either deception or persuasion. You don't have to tell me. But go ahead and make a check, and it'll be against Lillian's insight.
Well, don't worry about it too much. And that one for one total.
17.
was going to
Yeah.
ask. I didn't know if could I roll as well since I was asking the question.
Sure, if you want to. You need to beat a 17.
Okay. Haha. Well, I have an insight of +10, so that makes it 22.
22, okay.
Hmm.
So, Argenta, were you using persuasion or deception?
Persuasion.
As far as you can tell, it seems that she's telling the truth. You don't know her quite as well as the rest of the party, but you know you've been around her for what, a couple of
I've
months
also been
now?
subjected to her bullshit.
You've been around her for a couple of months. You don't see anything that would indicate that she seems to be lying. Liliane, on the other hand, she, like, her eyes are just so. What color are your eyes, Argenta?
Argenta's eyes? Oh, they're brown, I think.
Brown. She just has these like deep like pools of chocolate that you just look into, and you're like,
Wow.
like little puppy dog eyes. You just get lost in them.
They're brown because you're so full of shit.
So, Argenta, at this point, you are feeling a compulsion to go get all of them.
Yeah, she just kind of purses her lips. No, that I still feel it. It's just at the moment I'm in control of myself. And she kind of squints.
The compulsion are you really on? Like, exactly.
Are you asking if she's compulsed to a specific one?
Oh,
Specific location.
Right now, Argenta, you are feeling like you want to get all four of them equally.
yeah.
But
So
again,
she'll,
you know only one is the orb.
yeah,
But because you don't know
uh,
which one,
exactly. She's just like, I don't know which one it is, so I want to grab all four,
Uh,
which is
but,
probably a bad idea.
but you can tell that the orbit at real one of the things that the best.
Argenta?
Hmm? Oh,
Uh,
what did you ask? I missed it.
But you can tell that one of the four is the orb.
Are they
You
giving
just don't know which one.
are they giving me an Orby feeling?
absolutely. You are confident one of them is the orb, and at the same time, you got to catch them all.
Uh,
Yes, one of them is the orb, is what she'll say.
uh, Do
check
you
myself.
think it'd be a good idea for you to get a similar box?
I think one of you should probably take it. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm now that I'm in control of myself, I was curious about this before. If I grab it again, I wonder if it'll always be bad, but if one of you grab it, will it be good?
Oh,
Well, you did grab one and it was good. The first one.
The first one, that's what I'm saying, but the second one was bad. So I'm curious if we can manage to have it so that each of us grab one equally, will they be good? That
That might lead us down the wrong. That might lead us down the wrong road of conclusions because there wouldn't be any pattern there wouldn't be any established pattern. I-
I
If it's bad
mean,
or good,
there is a pattern.
So I can do one thing. It could be. Let's see here. I could. It only works on one object, so I could try it on one to two of them, maybe. I could. I could try dispel magic, and I would have to believe that the one that's most powerful would be very hard to dispel, if not impossible. While the other ones seem to be various levels of enchantments that were put on these things. I could attempt to dispel, and I would say anything. I could say anything that's dispelled, even if it's a temporary turn off. It's probably not the orb.
I mean, are you so that well that is up for
Well, and the other option is simply, it seems to be direct contact.
yeah.
So I am also wondering if it's simply encased in a false woody appearance. I could also just try scraping it.
Me and the kids at this point are all just kind of like uh holding hands and singing Kumbaya.
What's going on? I think Rowan will look at each of these because I think he's also used to um, the appearances and of these things as well. So, so one, he's going to presume that each of these are all four of these are uniform.
Mm-hmm. They are identical spheres.
Yeah. The spheres the orbs we have, are they the same size and shape?
Yeah,
Or do they?
they're obviously made of a different material. Like the two orbs you guys have thus far seem to be made of some kind of glass or crystal, something like that, something a mineral. These are obviously made of wood.
Okay, so all of these are all the same size.
Yep, they're the
Orbs
same size as the orbs
orbs.
that you have
Okay.
already. They're just it's a wooden orb versus a glass one.
So differing materials. So this orb could actually be a wood orb.
Or it be if it was
Scrutinize as best we can. In the end, I think it's like I could try to dispel magic, or be simply. It's simply going to be a narrowing down of the odds.
yeah.
You guys ready?
Yeah,
To
why don't you try it? Try the spelling.
I'm going to go with the one and. Vala,
Yes.
divination, evocation, necromancy, or transmutation. Which one of these speaks the most damage to you? Is that the evocation? In a direct one-to-one aspect.
I feel like it would be necromancy, but I mean, invocation gets a bad rap because fireball. But
I agree with
yeah,
that,
probably
but
invocation.
Okay. I'm going to try. I think, Argenta, I do lean towards the fact that maybe it should be you.
Why?
Again, it's the if if the orbs are responsible for the compulsion, I think it'd
Again,
be
I
more
think that's
manageable.
part of the
I think
challenge.
that'd be bad.
I think that's part of the challenge. Part of their game. Remember, this is a game. Making it easier on us would not be in their best interest.
but it's supposed to be half and half. So the compulsion making it a bad orb. I'm not sure how that leans into. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
but they wanted to be bad. They want to talk to us, to talk to the people here.
it's hard to establish a pattern with only 2 results so far. I understand your thinking. I'm not discounting it. But again, we also run into the problem of I don't want everyone compulsion if we can possibly avoid that. So we may have. I think we have to try at this point. If we think I want to see everyone else thinks about this too. If that's the case, then I'm volunteering myself because I absolutely do not want Lillian compulsed right now. And it can't be Vala.
So what are you guys gonna do? Vala's tiny tent only has an 8-hour lifespan, so if you guys don't make a decision pretty soon here,
In the longer
And
we
Vala's running out of campfire songs.
Yeah, the more places of the kids.
Argenta, if you're adamant that you don't want to do it, then I'll leave it at that. Then I'll do it.
I want to at least see if who grabs it matters, and I'm in control of myself right now.
Okay. All right. In that case, Lillian, you get back there. We need to mitigate the damage as much as possible.
Alright,
So, Rowan, what are you doing?
Rowan's going to go up to the evocation, and he's going to
Grab it?
He's gonna put a hand on it. He's gonna put both hands on it, and
Okay.
that's gonna be the first thing before he tries to do a twist, turn, pull, whatever. He's gonna like.
All right.
Here we go.
I need everybody to roll me dexterity saving throws.
Everyone, even the people in the hut, because the hut would protect. And I think it's me and
Yeah,
Argenta
I
that are outside the hut.
So anyone inside the hut doesn't need to, but everyone outside I need.
If it's outside, it's just me or Argenta.
Well, no, Lillian too.
Lillian's supposed to be in the hut because I wanted to mitigate the damage.
alright.
Okay. That's 16 on the die. Dexterity. I'm sorry. Saving throw.
Saving throw. Yep.
Okay, so that's 17.
17.
Nat 20 for 22.
Okay. So Argenta makes the same. Rowan fails. 34 fire damage.
Half because I'm a tiefling.
Half because you're a tiefling, half because Argenta made her save.
Yep.
So 16 fire damage as a fireball explodes from this orb.
Let's hope that warmed the bed.
Hmm.
You do notice the bed is completely unharmed. Everything else is not on fire, but is covered in scorch marks.
How's it going out there?
Yeah, you guys inside the hut. Oh, it's opaque in there. So you guys just kind of saw, like, it got slightly brighter outside the hut for a second.
I feel Vala just like spider sensed.
You're like, there's a
That was a
fire
fireball.
happening somewhere.
The air
Bola?
changed.
Bola?
Yes.
Your
Yes?
bed wrap stands.
Is everyone okay out
Yeah,
there?
are you okay?
They're fine.
I know you can see us.
I can't actually.
I see it right.
Okay. Divination, necromancy, and transmutation. I'm going to dispel the one that's necromancy and see what happens.
Okay. So as you concentrate on the dispel magic, dispel magic only works on active magical effects. Like if you were to cast dispel magic on like a magic sword, it wouldn't do anything. So as you're sitting there focusing on it, you realize the necromancy orb is actively doing something. And as you sit there and concentrate and you kind of just stop it, Vala, as you are sitting there, the little girl on your lap falls down, skin cold, not breathing.
Guys.
What are you doing out there?
What happened? I hear Rowan hears
No,
it. What happened?
we can see in, they can't see out, so you
Yeah.
would have seen that.
Can I do a medicine check?
Yeah, go ahead and make me medicine check.
Rowan will rush in. He'll if he can see inside, he'll rush.
Yeah, but more
Very
than
17.
Max.
9 people.
Yes, I know.
Oh,
And Vala specifically stated that she's not allowing anyone in that she doesn't want. So if you try to run in, you will.
I
face
haven't run in
plant.
yet. I said I was going over there.
Okay. So, what's your check?
17.
17. She is dead and has been for a very long time.
How about the other kids?
Other kids seem fine.
Have they reacted to this? Have they noticed?
It takes them a little bit longer to kind of pick up on what's going on. Because they're as much as you all were singing together, they've kind of formed their own little cliques and stuff like that. And they're doing whatever they can to stay.
Rowan will be at the door. He knows he can't go in, and he's going to
Yeah,
rush.
I
Like,
will.
shove her out to me. Shove her out to me. If
I'll pass her out.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. She just. I
she
don't
went there-
know.
and if this happens instantaneously, now Rowan knows how the spell works. The spell should not take if he begins casting it. So I think in previous times you said when the spell shouldn't take, it doesn't happen, and nothing occurs in regards to casting the spell since there's nothing to target.
Well,
So if he
what
casts
spell are you? What spell are you
Revivify.
casting? Revivify. Yeah. So Revivify only works on something that has died within the past. I think it's a minute, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as you sit there and try to target it, the body's been dead too long for it to work.
That's not possible. That's not
Think-
possible. That's not possible.
Argento will
No!
go. I grab his mouth the moment he yells. Shut up.
As you hear the word "shut up," suddenly the house is bathed in that deep red light. You guys know if you wait for 10 minutes, it'll go away.
To focus on staying quiet, Rowan is going to work through how a necromancy spell off of a bedpost could render someone dead and instantaneously beyond the point to where it's counted as longer than a minute, even though it was within a minute. So, is it possible spell that she was always dead and the bed kept her animated?
You can roll an Arcana check if you'd like.
Would religion apply to this as well, or because
I would say this is closer to like this is mechanical magic is what you're trying to figure out. So this would definitely be an Arcana check. Doesn't really have a religious aspect to it. Other
Okay.
than you're relatively certain the Dark Lady is probably not pleased with it.
Okay, so 18, that's 21.
21. Okay. Resurrection spells don't work on undead. It's actually something that rather evil necromancers will do is if you can raise a body into undeath before it can be revivified or revived or something, it is no longer able to be revived because it has been turned into an undead creature.
Sweetie, what did they do to you?
So your best guess with a 21 is the orb there was effectively animating her as a zombie of some sort and was intentionally designed to mask that fact.
You probably didn't even know.
What my slow growing at all?
You just see, since this is 10 minutes, Rowan is just he's saying he's muttering something, but he knows not he knows to shut the fuck up because that's how he survives. But he's crying. It's
Okay.
just simple tears just running through.
And what did you ask, Lillian? I didn't get it.
One earlier when she was playing with her weapons,
Mm-hmm.
what my slow growing at all?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. When she picked it up, yes. But it was such a faint glow that it was easy to miss. I think now, like Lillian seeing this happening, now you'd be thinking back and you're going, oh,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
With the 10 minutes of silence and looking at her,
Mm-hmm.
and do Argenta's favorite enemy is undead. Like this party is very much aligned with, undead hunting.
Yeah.
Uh uh is like because was she under the effects of an illusion? Is her body just very well maintained?
As, um, this would be another thing that you need an Arcana check for. So if you want to make an Arcana check, you can. But this, as far as you can to tell, like you didn't get the feeling that she was undead until Relwyn was holding her. Like now, it seems blatantly obvious to you.
I just want to ask. So when I dispelled the orb, did the dispel take removing the magical effect off of the orb, off of the post of
The
necromancy
orb
on it?
is no longer actively doing anything. It's still magical.
Yeah, because I do know it can. I know in some cases, like I
Yeah.
said, it could.
So
It can
all
be
the dispel magic has done is it's effectively turned the orb off.
which I know it can be temporary, which
But as
well,
far as you can tell, if you can figure out how the orb works, you don't see any reason that it can't be turned back on. Like all
Uh,
you've literally done is flip the switch.
well, in some cases they usually come back on themselves when
19.
19.
magical items.
Okay, so we'll deal with that in a second.
Okay,
So with a 19, this is so far beyond your particular expertise in hunting undead. Like you have a generally good idea of the situations that are prime for creating undead and things like this, but this is like master, like doctorate level necromancy stuff. It's a little bit beyond, like you don't understand how it could have happened. You just know that it did. Like you had no idea she was undead before, and now it's blatantly obvious to you. So whether that was part of the spell that was cast, whether it was something that she was doing, because there are ways to mask undead. Things like masking the scent masking the scent and the visual aspects of it tends to be enough to fool most people. It wouldn't fool you, But most people, as long as they don't smell a rotting corpse or see like flesh hanging off the bones, they will have no idea that something is undead. So, in your mind, it's theoretically possible there might be more that could be done that might be able to fool you, but you wouldn't know how. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So, Rowan, I'm going to have you do another Arcana check for the questions that you're asking, because again, this is getting a little bit beyond what you would have learned from your last check.
16.
16. Okay. As far as you can tell, the orb seemed to be what was effectively giving her life. And you turned it off. And that's it. You
No.
think with enough time, like maybe an hour or so, you could probably figure out how to turn it back on.
Well, in some cases, usually when something is
You
enchanted,
don't think this is a time thing. You think it needs to be turned back on. As with a
Okay.
16, you're relatively certain something needs to turn it back on. But with a 16, it's going to take you time to figure out how to do that. Like I said, give yourself about an hour with it. You're relatively certain you could figure out how to turn it back on. And someone with more magical knowledge than you could probably cut that time down. But you're relatively certain you turned it off, and it needs someone to turn it back on if you want that effect to happen again.
I'll give that little puzzle to. Well, I mean, we're sorry. So obviously, I'm waiting until the red light goes away.
Yeah. So 10 minutes have passed. Red light's gone away.
And so Rowan's actually going to like. She's actually. And I'm sorry. It's not too bad for like. The orb turns back. That one turns back on. She will wake back up.
You can't be 100% certain, but that's what you think. Again, a 16 is not enough to give you certainty, unfortunately.
Okay. But she was possibly always an undead, and so it was there. So Rowan is going to put it not so in terms of the one. Was somehow linked to her. When I turned it off, she went to sleep. And Rowan is emphasizing certain words more than others. It's possible we need to turn that one back on. She will wake up. But someone, for some reason, had it tied to a very specific type of person. In a similar sense to our friends who had a tongue issue. As Rowan is trying to like, there's a Venn diagram here. And he doesn't want to scare the kids about what really happened.
Argenta will switch to Infernal as she's talking, and she just says,
Well, he's trying to tell Vala, because like Vala as well as everyone else who might have Arcana.
"Yep, that's mostly Vala." But
Yeah.
she'll switch to Infernal, and she just says, "This is masterful necromancy. It's not your usual affair."
Yes, I would ascertain, though, that was not the orb, because the last one we did, and he looks at the kids and like, we remember the house. And Rowan, I'm sorry, not to be too meta on this, but I didn't have to roll anything for the spell to take place on a higher level spell. And I'm damn skippy if a house can fuck with the molecular binding of wood to melt.
If you want to get into the nitty gritty of it, you didn't dispel the magic. You dispelled the activator, which is a very simple spell, and that's what you dispelled, and that's why it just turned off.
Yeah. And that's why he's confident. Like that was not the orb.
Vala will just like kind of put out her hand and be like, I could take a look at it. Maybe I can figure out how to turn
it's
it
still
back on.
attached to the bedpost at this particular point in time. So
I think so. You might consider what it might take to turn it back on while we're considering things.
Would this be like an purely academic thing, or would Vala need
you
contact with
you
the orb?
need to actually look at the thing.
He's just
Like,
giving you information
can-
about what happened and
Yeah.
what he's understood.
Until you can physically examine the orb, you're not going to be able to help, because it's kind of like someone like calling you on the phone and going, "Well, listen to this. What's wrong with my car?"
Have you tried turning it off and then turning it back on again?
I would love to turn it back on again.
Look, electricity's hard.
What operating system is it running?
Vista, we're
We're
going to die.
Microsoft. Did you try unplugging it and then plug it back in? Now, when I say unplug, I mean the power cable. That's the thing that has the 3 prongs that goes into the wall.
Dude, that hits so close to home, dude. I've had that conversation, man.
So,
I've had to-
I want to get through this as much. I want to get through this before.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be something you have to deal with later.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now it's divination and transmutation left.
Yeah, and hold on. What were you saying, Lillian?
No, I was wondering if anybody in the party speak Elvis.
I do speak Elvish and Sylvan.
I speak Elvish as well. I just don't think
Of
Roland
course, you speak Sylvan.
Alright.
Argenta speaks, just so everyone is aware, Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, Elvish, Infernal, Orc, and Vampire.
Alright.
Celestial and infernal.
Alright.
So we'll have to get like one of those learning annex courses for Wellwind, so he can start like hooked on phonics, but Elvish. Divination, transmutation. What do you guys want to do?
And transmutation is like changing things.
Yes,
think-
that's why I was
think-
thinking divination could be the least harmful result if I dispel that one.
I mean, it depends. Transmutation could simply turn it back into the orb.
Well, evocation was the one that he touched and fireball, so we know that's not the orb. So it's down between divination and transmutation.
Yep.
So I could dispel divination.
I mean, that depends if it's even active or if it's doing something or not.
Well, if it is, I mean, again, it's the if anything else happens that's simple, that's not the orb, because the orbs are very powerful.
What do you want to do?
Why do I feel like the divination one is the security camera watching us?
That was too.
You shine a laser pointer at it, though. It overloads the light sensors.
Vala will take her wand of magic detection,
Mm-hmm.
hand it to Relwyn, and be like, so this is a wand that can do the magic detection?
I know which ones have magic on them. Why would I need the wand to do it again?
What are the schools of magic affecting Argenta's existing orbs?
Would I know that because the spell was ongoing? It would have been everything within 30 feet of me.
Yeah, but you do have to actually look at it, and both the orbs are in
Pouches. They're
pouches.
Not, they weren't magical pouches, so
So you
And she's more than willing to take them out.
Yeah.
So
So if you want to use you don't remember seeing anything on Argenta when you had your detect magic on, other than like Argenta had a dagger on her that's very magical, and
the
her
cloak
bullet
and the
bag.
bullet bag,
Yeah, bullet bag is magical. The cloak's magical.
the bag
There
of
was
holding.
there was a lot on Argenta. To be perfectly honest, Argenta was just glowing.
Yeah, but I'm saying so.
Yeah.
The pouches weren't glowing
Not that you remember, but again,
because
you didn't.
I
You
know a
didn't
pouch would
focus
be
on them.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll just take the one. I'll do it then.
Yeah, so scanning with the one, they don't glow. And if you have Argenta take them out, nothing happens.
No, because you've already touched them.
Hmm.
Okay, well, if there's no objections, I'm going to try to dispel the divination one,
Okay?
and he's going to prep, and we're going to do the same thing again. So he's going to dispel divination.
So as you start to kind of conjure the dispel magic spell and you focus on the divination orb, there's nothing to end.
Now, does that mean the spell didn't take? And I did not cast a spell?
Yes.
Or
In order for you to cast the spell, the target has to be something or object that's affected by an ongoing magic effect. And there isn't an ongoing magic effect. It's just a magic item. So again, the difference between ending a flame blade spell versus using dispel magic on a flame tongue sword. You would have no effect on the flame tongue sword because it doesn't have an active magic effect. It's a magic item. Does that make sense? So as far as you can tell right now, the divination orb is magical and it can do something. It's just not doing something right now.
a magical effect, so I didn't know if, like, my understanding was always like, for example, your flame tongue sword example, it would temporarily turn the flame tongue off.
Anti-magic field would do something like that, but dispel magic is not meant to affect magic items. Because there's no duration for dispel magic, it ends active magical effects. That's the point of this as a spell. Removes buffs, debuffs, things like that. Active magical effects. Dispel magic is ending a spell, and a magic item is not constantly casting a spell on itself. It's just magical in nature. Does that make sense?
Yes, and describing that, Roland goes, so it could possibly be the divination. I'm going to try it on transmutation next.
Okay.
And he's going to go ahead and try.
Same thing happens.
So that means that these two have some type of magical item property tied to them. So if one of these is the orb and we touch, it's the orb. And it'll be a good result or a bad result.
I'm going to go off of context, please. Vala, just to bounce off you, divination is like magic that lets you see or hear places far away or get information, right?
Yes.
And transmutation is the one that changes you.
Or things. Think lead into gold.
I think it's transmutation if it's the orb.
Yeah.
Although making like wood into pulp would be a transmutation as well.
That's fair, but when I touched the orb, it was that feeling of elation, and you keep saying I have this glow behind my eyes now. You all keep trying to look into my eyes. It's a little strange.
Well, I've told you why.
Well, yes.
You said really pretty eyes.
Okay. Well,
You
again,
could also try and both grab both at once. That would be funny.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen then.
divination seems to be the least of the problematic options here. I'm going.
But
I'm.
if you activate divination and it draws the eyes to us, that blows up. She's switching to infernal and she says this. That blows up the house.
Yeah.
That's good. Like Roland's about. Well, that's actually a very good point.
But the other one could just blow up the house.
Well, she doesn't seem to repeat the same trick. She seems. Roland doesn't want to use a bad word in front of the kids.
Kids,
Start smelling
earmuffs.
things.
That fudge licking dog doesn't like to repeat her tricks. She likes to think she's clever off of other people's work. So we've had one that would melt. We had one various effects. The divination actually makes a lot of sense. So if there's no objections, I'm going to try the transmutation. Worst case is probably going to turn me into something.
And that's how Relvin became a bullywug.
Roland's gonna.
So as your hands make contact, the first thing you notice, you feel this kind of electric current going across your entire body. All the hairs on your arms, on the back of your neck, everywhere just kind of stand on end. You feel this kind of energy, and you guys can see these little blue bolts of electricity starting to travel up Rowan's arms. Rowan, as you're holding on to this, you can feel this energy transferring into you, and you feel amazing. You feel power like you've never felt before. You feel yourself becoming energized, like
Sorry.
like you could take on both siblings single-handedly. You feel amazing, and after a few moments, everything kind of fades down, and the wooden sphere just kind of pops off the bedpost.
Recognizing the effect, Argenta squints. It should have been me.
Yeah, Argenta, you've been able to kind of keep the compulsions down, but without thinking. After everything happens, your body like lurches forward, and you find your hands around Relwyn's neck before you realize what's going on. And it's not long enough for you to squeeze or anything, but you're suddenly just there, and you are so incredibly infuriated at him for just the briefest moment, and then you're back in control.
Hand around his neck, hand to shoulders, shake him once. Feels great, doesn't it? And then I walk back into the main room.
Was this the same? Now this is described similarly. So the electricity I saw, the good orb
Mm-hmm.
run up. This is I saw. This is a POV experience
Yeah.
where I saw same electricity run up Rowan.
You're starting to understand exactly what happened to Argenta. And as Argenta kind of says, feels good, doesn't it, and starts walking away, you feel this indescribable feeling of disgust towards Argenta and contempt.
If I might take a little bit of liberty here, Rowan doesn't like that he feels good
Okay.
because he is. I don't think he's. Any moments where he has felt good have been very, very brief moments.
Dude, you are preaching
This
to the choir.
and this is now, fuck no, this is not normal. And I don't, what is this? I don't like it. I shouldn't like it.
So you're having this really weird feeling of ambivalence because again, you feel really good, but you don't like FIFA feeling good. And then at the exact same time that you're having that kind of ambivalence, you also have this incredible animosity that you now feel towards Argenta. Like you're disgusted by her, you have this incredible amount of contempt for her, and kind of like an envy, like an extreme form of envy. It's not fair that she got to do this before I did. It's not fair that she got this.
You're just jealous I have 2 orbs and you have 1.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. Like in your head, that line of "it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair" just keeps going over and over and over.
Going to acknowledge this, Argento, please understand I am this is auditing.
Oh no, I'm entirely aware.
Shut up! And
Yes,
like Rowan immediately like,
she just nods a few times. Yes, that's what I've been choking down this whole time. You understand how strange it is.
I want to kill you. I want to kill you because you got to feel this good. I that pull.
Hmm.
She is not clever enough to do this.
Oh no, I doubt she is. I think that these were given to her.
And I want to wring her. And again, he's keeping like I acknowledge I want to do very bad things to her. To them both. We need to find a way to break her toys and make this on our terms.
One of the things we know is that she seems to be attached to items. They seem to be her source of power, much like the Bloody Fang was given his power. Wagon of uh she has her wagon of naps, she has her wand of endless fireballs, and she has these orbs.
What does Vincent get out of this? We know what she gets out of it. What does Vincent get out of this? He's bored.
I don't
Is he just
know. Other than the fact that he's a very powerful warrior, apparently. Kind of reminds me of an undead in some ways.
That's interesting. Never considered that.
Hmm.
Because she has all the emotion, but he seems to be very, very concerned with her state of being, like she's in control.
Argenta, Vala, it should be okay to come out now.
Yes, we have the correct orb.
Okay, kids. Everybody stay huddled together. We're gonna stay here. Um,
When you
I'm
leave the hut,
gonna
it'll go away.
the hut's gonna go away. You guys are all gonna be safe here. I need to go check out that bed real quick. And I will
Okay.
drop the hut. I will pack up the tent.
All right. So just because it's getting late, um, once you're able to kind of sit down with between you and Rowan in about 20-ish
That-
minutes.
That's the divination. That was the necromancy.
Yeah. So within about 2 to 20 minutes, you guys are kind of able to suss. This is so far beyond any of you guys as far as magic. You cannot tell how it works, but you know how to turn it back on.
Right. I don't know how an internal combustion engine works, I can figure out the ignition switch.
Yeah. So you think you can turn it back on if you want.
Is it a simple gesture, turn?
It's significantly more complicated than that. It has to do with actually using magic to do it, but you, without me having to actually come up with a way how, you know how to do it. It's not like a single gesture, which also means that turning it off would also be something that, without it either to dispel magic or a really good understanding of this particular orb, it's not something that these kids are going to be able to turn off.
Would this require a spell slot to
No,
jumpstart it, or?
just magical under Sis's standing and the ability to cast spells.
So I think we want to turn it on, right?
He looks back to her. Yes.
Okay.
And the only reason I suggest that is because it could, if it is and is responsible for this, she could be stuck in a state of limbo.
Right. So I will turn
When you
it
do
on.
that, I'm going to examine her.
So as soon as it's turned on, chest rises and falls. She kind of blinks. Did I fall asleep?
Rowan tries to fight Brian again. He's like, yes, sweetie, you did. Does the appearance come back?
Yeah.
Because I know how she looked before and then turned on. Does she immediately like,
Yeah, you touch her skin. Her skin feels warm. There's color in her cheeks. She looks like a normal... She looks malnourished. But beyond that, she looks like a normal little girl. Vala, in your mind, especially from your experience with the elite when you were living as the Inquisitor, like this is the kind of dangerous magic that's not dangerous because of the damage that it can cause, but because of how coveted a spell like this would be. Like, people would pay ungodly amounts of money to be able to just have their loved ones back with no apparent sign that there's anything wrong with them. And so that your mind instantly goes, if someone could do this, they would have a never-ending source of income. And it would most definitely become something that the elite would use constantly. Like you've seen the elite kind of abuse things like this before, and this, like, you're like, no, this is never something that can be figured out by someone else. It needs to remain unknown.
Yeah, Vala would have some very interesting opinions on this, given that she hates the undead, but loves the innocent. And, well, this isn't her fault.
Rowan asks, is it possible that Elizabeth did this, or that this was done to her before the twins showed up?
I mean, from the sounds of it, they've been here for years. And, how dead did she look when she was a corpse? Like right before she got brought back?
She was a corpse, like cold to the touch, pale skin, like
So not rotting.
Post rigor mortis.
Okay.
Not quite to the point where like bloating was happening, but yeah.
And Rowan knows there are ways to preserve someone.
Yeah, she looked like a if you've ever seen like in a morgue.
Yeah.
Basically,
both mundane and a very minor magical.
Yeah,
could also do it
like
as well.
preservation of a corpse is not has been something that's been common knowledge for centuries. So yeah, she looked like a relatively well-preserved corpse, but most definitely a corpse. There was nothing about her that even hinted that she was alive. Unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for today. As always, if you've missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/TrainerJody. Due to this month having 5 Wednesdays and the fact that I've had to cancel on these guys a lot, next week I will be running Legend of the Three Kingdoms again, as long as we have enough people to play. So, yeah! Otherwise, it's going to be all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.